that she hated pumpkins with an idea and everything. So she put those pictures. What's that one?
You don't have to do any stories for
So, but
them.
she was tickled with how much we are.
Yes, there were 17
She said,
people.
she told me that there's 17. She was out in her car and so I quick, hey,
Oh, good.
I wanted to come to.
Okay. Yeah, it was, she was tickled pink. When I got here, she was sitting in there all by herself. So I came back here and kept her entertained for a while.
Kept your mind off things.
Right. Yep.
Do you know when the light, when I got a phone call from Sierra about it, I put it on hold, for years from now, and across, and I did set one of them. And you called me, so you just do that on the phone system. I don't know if it's on the voice now, but.
Did you have the library number saved under, like in your contacts?
Oh, that could be it. I just wondered if other people could do that too.
Okay, I'll have to call from the library phone
And see,
myself.
okay,
Yeah.
cause maybe you're right, maybe it's cause it's on some of my contacts that way. But did she had a separate, no, she didn't have a separate one for the front desk, did she?
Well,
They
there's
should have
76
come out that
too.
way.
Yeah.
Just-
So, do you have a copy of the trustee? Yeah, you're welcome.
That's my wife's too quickly.
Oh, it is.
Sorry.
Like, where did the time go? You know, that clock is accurate? Yeah,
Mhm.
'cause the phone is.
It is now.
It is 6:01, so we will call the meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. I think we can dispense with roll call, we're all here, if that's okay with everyone?
Yeah.
All right. You've had an opportunity to review, the minutes. Does anyone have any corrections or additions? No? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion.
And thank you, Stephanie, and
Support.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next, we have visitors' comments. Do we have any comments from visitors? Welcome to those of you here.
My name is Jack McLean. I requested or asked about how many people. I'm not happy the way I received that information, because actually I got kind of scolded by my employer because they said that I have no right representing the township, which I didn't say I was from the township.
Oh.
I asked about information from about the township. I don't think that's right. I mean, I don't know who gave that letter to part of the township board. I've never said I was employed by the township, nothing. I've never said anything about the township, so I don't think that was a very good way of advertising something. I mean, I am glad I got the information. It's like a little over 200,
Mhm.
which is fine, but I just, what's your policy on people that ask questions?
Just for clarity, because I am not aware, I mean, I'm aware of the situation, I'm aware of you asking the question, but I'm not aware of how this involves your employer. Your employer somehow got a letter? Can you clarify that?
The letter was given to Kelly Landis, who works at the County National Bank, which is on the board for Hillsdale Township. She gave it to me, and in turn, the supervisor said, you know, if you was there representing the township, that's not the thing to do, which I'm smart enough to understand that. I figured all of you guys were smart enough to know that it shouldn't go to my employer. I'm a private individual person, taxpayer in here asking a question. Somebody had to have sent it to
So it was suggested when you weren't here at the meeting last month to get it to you in an appropriate time frame, was to take it to someone that was on the township, and it was recommended to take it to Kelly Lantis or Jackie Sullivan. And I knew Kelly Lantis, so I went to take it to her. She wasn't there, so I left it there and left a sticky note on it if she had any questions to reach out to me, and I didn't hear from her. So I didn't
Why-
directly speak to her, and I didn't say that you were representing anyone,
Well, they took it that I was,
okay?
so I need a letter of apology to the township board that I wasn't here representing the township board or anything to do with the board at all. I don't know why that would happen. It'd be like me, if you guys asked me a question, if I took it to your employer and said, well, here they asked about this. I don't think it was the way to do it at all.
I apologize, and I'm happy to have a conversation with Ms. Lantis if you'd like me to.
And the township board.
Okay,
It was brought up in a public meeting, which makes me look like a fool.
There's nothing to fill, this is basic public information, anyone can inquire about it.
So why would it be sent to my employer?
It sounds like she was just trying to get it to you, but
Well, my name is in the phone book, my address is in the phone book. I know not many people have landlines, but I actually do. It's not that hard to look my name up and send me the information.
noted, absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, next on the agenda, any other visitor comments? Okay. Next is the expense and revenue report, and I'll turn that over to Jessica.
Just making a note so I don't forget about this later, Mr. McLean. On the expense and revenue report, I will note that when the budget was done, it doesn't look like we budgeted for vacation time or holiday and other pay, so it looks like we are over budget in those two areas. Since we do have a full-time employee myself, I do get vacation time and holiday pay, so we'll see that it's over budget. I am working with finance and actually have a meeting with the finance director. I couldn't get in until the 26th of this month to meet with her. So we are gonna go over the budget and see if we can make budget amendments. That included also some grant and donation money and see if we can get it added into our expenditures and our budget there. Looks like we are overall 19.3% of the budget used, because we are in the third month. We should be about 25%, so we are under budget so far. Any questions, comments on the budget? Yeah.
Yes, under our various income lines, I was looking over that. We've got some lines we haven't received at all yet.
Right.
Special acts, local community stabilization share, this number 587, cons/local units dash culture slash rec. Do you know, are you able to give a brief account of what those lines are and when we should receive those funds?
I wish I could, but I have not
Okay.
been in connection with the finance director.
But you've
And
got this
Tina-
meeting with the finance director?
I do, yeah,
Okay, so we
and
can get some
Tina-
clarification on
Yes, and
these.
Tina has not
Okay.
been able to answer my questions, who works for the city,
Okay.
finance questions that I
Okay.
have.
Now,
So,
who is the finance director? Is that
her
Tina?
name is Karen Lancaster, and she's contracted with the city, so she
Okay.
works for the city on Thursday.
Is she new? Okay,
So
but
we've been
she,
contracted with
she's
her.
contracting, so she only works for the city once a week?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, and they are in the middle of their, audits, so it's been audit time for a couple of months, so it's been very difficult
Okay.
to, meet with her, and some questions I've asked Tina's taken to her, but then the answers that I've got, I have more questions on that she's not able to answer,
Yeah.
so I don't have many clear answers right now, but I hope I do at the next meeting.
well,
And I would verify that as well before Jessica came on board, when I had questions for Tina and met with her in person
mhm,
as acting director or
yeah,
acting president.
Yeah.
Several things she was able to answer and several things she deferred till we could meet with the contracted agent.
and hopefully Mrs. Lancaster will be able to explain each of these lines.
I hope so.
Yeah, I would say it's good to hear that we're currently under budget for expenditures.
Yeah.
So my main concern at the moment is these multiple income lines where we're expecting a certain amount to go into the budget, and we've either received very little or none at all yet. So the question is, when do we get that money?
Yep.
Okay,
Were there other specific lines too? I know you asked about the 404 and the
Yeah.
587.
the 587, of course, there's always penal fines, and I know penal fines historically have come in the middle of the fall. They haven't come until a few months into the fiscal year. What about expected income from rental of meeting rooms? I know we've historically had a substantial amount of income from meeting room rental. We placed an expectation of 6,000 for the year. We've only had 125. Are we expecting to make up that difference?
It is all circumstantial right now. We don't have any continuous meetings happening and being rented from the meeting room. We were expecting to have the Hillsdale High School, they have a gaming program, and they were going to come here and use our meeting rooms here, but then they canceled. They didn't have the funds to do it, or the students to be able to do that, so they're doing that internally. So that was gonna bring in $100 a week for several months. So we lost that, but I don't foresee anything in the future for meeting room rentals.
The only thing where we got a large chunk of money last year was with that tax group that came
Right.
in. And that, I think, may have been why Brianna, or the previous director, budgeted that amount, because that seems like a pretty ambitious amount to me.
And I think we were expecting, I
She
think they
must have
said they'd
done
come
that
back
based-
this year.
She must have based that on
Yeah,
a conversation with them that they were coming back again this year, and based on what was the income from that group renting the room.
yeah, we should
last
definitely get in
year.
contact
She
with
had a
them.
figure in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, we should get in contact with them and see if we're expecting them to do business with us.
Once tax time comes around, that's when that money will be received then.
And then the next line, miscellaneous other revenue, which I think, and then other revenue, especially under trusts, is the largest line, again, where we're expecting a certain amount of income, but haven't gotten it yet, so the
That one I
question is.
can speak on.
Aha,
We get the money at the beginning of the year. There are
Okay.
a couple trust fund accounts that we have with County National Bank.
Okay.
And one, we get a fixed amount every year. I believe Tina said that one's, close to a couple thousand, and then the other one, we get a percentage of the balance that's in the account. So that one varies depending on the balance in the account,
Okay.
but that one is a large sum.
and this 25K is the estimated income from that trust.
And that is accurate.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. Alright.
It should be really close to that, based on what we've had in previous years.
Any other questions about expense and revenue?
I see we've budgeted quite a bit for health and life insurance and only paid out a very little amount year to date. Do you have any idea whether or not how much of that we're expected to actually use?
Well, it's just me on the
Okay.
health and life plan, and
Oh,
on a
okay.
single plan. So
Okay,
you're just paying for a single plan.
okay,
And obviously, nothing has been expensed out in the last couple months because we hadn't had
Yeah.
a director.
right,
This was the first time it's come
Right,
out, 'cause
okay.
this is the first time I've been paid out of the library budget.
sure.
Okay, we don't need to vote to approve the expense report, so we'll move on to circulation report.
Overall, our circulation has been down for our library. However, interlibrary loans have remained about the same, requests coming in and books going out. So incoming books and outgoing books for interlibrary loan have remained steady. I think that we're seeing a decrease in the circulation numbers, particularly in the children's and YA section, because we haven't had a children's librarian here with programming, and usually kids check out books when there's programming. And the adult busy time of year, school is back in session. I'm hoping that our stats for children and YA go up with us now having a programs coordinator who's handling our children's activities. That's later on the agenda. I can talk about that. Our Facebook, I apologize if you printed out our stats, but if you're looking at them now live, I did update it earlier. I saw that we had a typo error. Our Facebook reaches are up, and so are our Instagram reaches. Facebook's up a lot, and I think that's because Heidi's been working very hard on getting programs out there and marketing, and the more things you post on Facebook, the more outreaches you're gonna have.
And I want to commend Annette and Heidi for sharing and forwarding some of the posts that the library posts. You both and others have shared that and put those on your Facebook posts, so you get additional
Yep, extra
feedback as well.
outreaches,
Yeah,
yep.
more.
How long were hours reduced in September?
We had the same in August. It was 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, sorry, not 8 to 5, I apologize, 10 to 5, Monday
Right,
through
right.
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, we extended our hours, starting the last week in September,
Okay.
Mondays and Tuesdays till 6, and we added Saturdays to the month.
Okay.
And then,
Anecdotally, even though we don't have the actual data for that, are we seeing more people coming through the door?
no,
It takes a little while for marketing to get out there and the community to be aware of those hours.
and I mean, overall too, our patron count went down, in September from August, almost 12,000 patrons, or sorry, 1,200.
I was gonna say,
1,200, but our, wireless logins for our computers, and the network have gone up, and so have our printing, copying, faxes, and subscription cards. They've all gone up despite the decrease in patrons coming in.
Just foot traffic is down, but everything else is up.
Yep.
And that could be with school starting as well.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to director's report.
For our program stats, Lego Club remains steady. Story time had a significant increase. In August, we had about 20 participants. In September, it jumped back up to 43, which is where we were in July. We did move story time for October. It's now on Saturdays because we have a volunteer doing that, and now that we have Saturday hours, that works better for her schedule than Fridays. We did add in October, today was the first time, we had a little bookworm story time. So, that's going to get added, you'll see that next month. And then our Mango languages, went down quite a bit, but we also haven't been promoting it, so, I think the more we promote it, the more we'll see there.
Sounds good.
State aid reporting opened up October 1st. I have the majority of it filled out. There's some missing holes in there, primarily when it comes to the financials, which when I meet with Karen, it's probably going to be a hefty meeting on the 27th, but we'll get through it and hopefully get all of those answered. I sent her the questions that I had for state aid reporting ahead of time so she could review it. And state aid reporting is open until February 1st it closes. And if I need help with state aid, I can get help in October and November, but the closer I get to February, the less there is, because everyone's getting it done. So I'm hoping to get it done soon, that way, the state can help me look through it and make sure that it is, filled out correctly.
Way to get started on it.
Yep. We received a donation from the Southeastern Michigan Association for Children's Literacy. Last week, Tuesday, it was a donation for $290. So they asked that we keep them abreast of how we use the money, and I'm in contact with them. One of their members is a huge supporter of children's literacy, and she said if we need help with any ideas or any programming to contact her, she's very involved, and she'd be happy to help us. We also had a donation.
Real quick,
Yes.
could I ask if we've had any thoughts yet about how we're gonna use the funds?
Yes, so the Sauk Theater does a number of productions throughout the year, and historically, we've purchased books, 4 copies along with the Jonesville, North Adams, and Litchfield Library for the productions. We put some marketing material in there, and they've given 2 copies of the book to winners in the audience. Typically the last questions, and whoever answers the question gets the book.
And these are usually programs aimed at juveniles? Okay.
Yeah, so the next one is the Nutcracker that's going to be showing in December. And I believe historically, we might have taken that out of our book budget and purchased those books. Ideally, I'd like to see that come out of like a marketing budget line, which I have. I'm going to talk to Karen to see if we can get a marketing or promotional budget line. Or because this donation was for children's literacy, I think it's appropriate to use that for this as well. So, and it might go into the summer reading budget too, because as I noted last month, our summer reading budget is completely exhausted for this year. So. Any other questions on that? We had a donation that we gave to Lifespan of Hillsdale for their Christmas party. It included advanced reader copies of books, a summer reading t-shirt, and some candy shop prizes that we had from the summer reading program. And Heidi Pruitt is now our programs coordinator, so she took a step up. She's still doing adult activities, all of our children activities, and our social media. So we've kind of taken her off the front desk, and she is now in this role. She got a couple extra hours with this, and I think it's the perfect fit for us as a library. She loves it. She's doing great.
Good.
Yep, she had her little bookworms, her first
Yeah.
little program today, and
She was already doing the craft kits and the adult
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
programming and the other things, like the cafe color and the book club, so this just,
Yeah, reading the job description you shared, it seems like she's basically filling in the spot of a children's librarian until we can hire a dedicated children's librarian.
she is it.
Oh, I
She
see,
is
that's
it.
the idea, okay.
She is it.
She's doing the job,
She's
okay.
doing the job.
I got it.
that's
which
right.
definitely helped the budget as well. and
It's-
Yeah.
Preserved.
That
Now
our-
we
we
don't
haven't
have to
we haven't added a new head,
And we
we've just
don't have to
reassigned
add
duties.
another head, so,
Yeah.
it gave us a little bit more flexibility in the very tight budget that we had with wages, so.
Now, this is speaking of wages, this is being called a promotion, is this coming with a raise?
It did come with a
Okay.
raise.
Good. Good.
Yep. A well-deserved raise, she's got a
And-
lot on her plate that she's
Absolutely.
doing, and she is handling it very well.
Good for her.
Yes, yep, and with that too, Heidi has obtained her level 4 Library of Michigan certification, so huge congratulations to her. She
Absolutely.
wanted to do it, we gave her the time to be able to complete that, so Heidi and Annette now have a level 4. And then I mentioned this earlier, hours have been extended, Mondays and Tuesdays till 6, and Saturdays 10 to 1. We do have some holidays coming up in November. Veterans Day is a Friday and the library is closed. And the week of Thanksgiving, we're closed Thanksgiving Day, and that Friday, those are city observed holidays. So I said if a holiday, we decided as a group, if a holiday falls on a Friday where the library's closed, in respect, we'll close that Saturday too. And everyone's on board with
Have a
that.
full
Yep.
weekend.
Yep, I think that's fair to do. So the same thing will happen in December. We have Christmas and New Year's
Good.
too. So then we'll be closed those Fridays and Saturdays as well. We are, Heidi and I and one of our temporary staff members is helping us get caught up on emails. The directors and the children's emails are very backed up. Leanne was helping quite a bit, so I don't have quite as many as the children's librarian does, but the children's librarian has about 1,300 emails to catch up on. I am down to about 350.
Wow.
So that's when I checked yesterday, so there's probably quite a bit more in there. So we are working very hard to get caught up on emails, so if something got sent and we don't see it, and you guys are trying to contact us, give us a phone call.
Any predominant issues that tend to come up in these emails, or is it just kind of all over the place, general business?
We are,
What are we seeing?
well, from 2 directors prior to me, there were, what I'm noticing in my
Right.
email box as I'm cleaning it out, is there were a lot of, subscriptions signed up for, so a lot of it is just, so, yes, and email groups that were signed up for,
Mhm.
and
God.
so it's unsubscribing to
Unsubscribe from
those,
everything, yes, listservs and so forth.
and trying to make sure that as I'm going through it, I'm not missing anything, and I think that's probably part of it with the children's librarian too. And we both are signed up for like my youth emails, so we get those pertaining to like youth programs, and then I think her and I are both part of Mish LaBelle emails. It's an email group, and every time an email gets sent to that group, we get it, and a lot of it's communications. Hey, what are you doing about this? How are you guys handling this? So I get dozens of those a day, which are helpful to have. I just have asked for IT's help a couple of times in sorting those out and having them filter to their own mailbox, so then there's a dedicated email box, so some of other emails aren't getting lost in there.
Pertinent ones.
Right, and I created rules to try to do that, but the rules aren't sticking, so I'm just waiting for IT to, help us with that.
Good.
Good luck.
So, yes. I also received my level 3 library of Michigan certification. I was made aware that in order to receive state aid, we have to have, so that took my time frame of a year of getting it to like, I have to file for state aid, somebody
Wow.
has to have it.
So in addition to the legal requirement that within a year you complete it, even if you're still within that year, if you don't have it by the time you file for state aid, we're not,
Somebody in the
liable to
library
state aid.
has to have it,
okay.
so that set the fire, and so.
Good job getting through that.
Got it done.
Can you, like, how many hours does that take, and what all does it entail?
It probably took me while I'm doing my other job duties a week and a half to get through. Just because I didn't have the time to just sit down and dedicate my time to it. I know Heidi, when she sat down, I had to do the same training that Heidi did for her level 4, and hers probably took her 2 days when she sat down and she focused on it, so. Yep, and then I also did the new directors workshop. It's in the same programs that you need. It's for the level 3, you need the new beginnings workshop, and there's an additional one for new directors, so I did that one as well, which had a lot of helpful information in it. I also completed all of our grant reporting. We had some outstanding ones for the My Hope grant, we had a report for that, and then 2 for the Hillsdale County Community Foundation. One was for the summer reading program grant, for supplies that we had for $275, and then the other one was a field of interest for a reverse escape room, which was $379. So all the reporting is done. and it was a little overdue. Everyone was very nice and worked with us, and so Kelly and I can both cross that off of our list.
And we had more grants received this year than we needed to do follow-up reports on from under
Mhm.
Bree's leadership. We have acquired more grants than we ever have historically in the past. So that was a lot to
So there was a
Yep.
lot of report.
tie up loose ends.
Which is great, we got the money for
Yep,
it,
we got
so.
the money and it was very
Yep. Yep.
well used.
And there were some, outstanding invoices and past due items that I noticed as I'm getting statements and some things back from like 2020 that haven't been paid, so we'll see, in next month's budget, quite a bit come out for books, just because we didn't pay some invoices, and so there's probably an extra couple $1,000s of books that we didn't pay the invoices for. that
Tina
we'll
had
see them out.
indicated a couple times that we were double billed for things.
Yeah,
So I went through and I double
Okay.
checked all of that,
Okay.
yeah, that was a huge project too.
yeah, that was the next thing that occurred to me.
Or that books
Yeah.
were returned and there was a credit given, but it wasn't applied to
Yeah.
the next order, and so
Yeah.
that credit needed to be used.
Yep, and I worked with him to get that all settled, so, yeah, and Tina was brought in a little bit on that too, so she helped out on that. And then Leanne Rumler last week, came in, she was helping fill in order books and catch up on some emails, important emails that came in. So she came in and she handed off the book ordering and some folders that she had with some documents that need sorted through. So she's here if we need her, but she is, for the most part, back to her primary job duties at the college, so.
And just as a side note, on my own, I, purchased, I know that she really enjoys plays in theater, and I purchased some tickets for she and her husband as a thank you from me.
Thank you,
Not as part of the,
Yeah,
any financial responsibility here, but as a thank you, and she quickly replied that wasn't necessary, and I told her it was, and that her husband would agree with me. So, I know she really helped a lot.
Nothing under communications. There was a county-wide library directors meeting, that I inquired about a couple of times, on when it was going to be, never heard back, but then I did hear from Jonesville Library last week that they did have it, they forgot to copy me on it. So hopefully in November, I will be on those email communications and I'm able to join. I'm excited to meet the other libraries in the area and help them out. We're doing well, here at the Hillsdale Library, we do 1,000 great reads before kindergarten, and the other libraries want to join in on that, and they kind of want to see what the Hillsdale Library does and see if they can use the same resources, and that way,
Collaborate.
yeah, and collaborate, and that way it's the same across the county, and we're giving out the same prizes, and so we might rework ours here, so that it's level across the playing board for prizes, and, yeah, so I'm working with them on getting that going. Old business, Johnson Controls has been contacted to fix our fire suppression repairs. Jason reached out to them. Tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks, and scheduled them, asked them to come out, but he didn't schedule a date, so I've reached out a couple of times to get in connection with them to see when the date is and when they're able to come. Haven't had any response to my multiple emails or voicemail stuff, but I am due diligently contacting them to see when they are coming, so.
Now, when it comes to these repairs, I feel like this is obviously an insurance issue that the city might be concerned about.
Yeah.
So is there a point at which, if Johnson Controls just doesn't return our phone calls, we look somewhere else?
DPS is, confident that they will.
Okay.
So, and we did outreach and investigate, and they are, like I said at the last meeting, the only company that handles the Simplex system, so there really isn't another option.
Figured.
So,
Okay.
okay, moving on to new business, unless anyone has any other old business they thought needed to be addressed. Okay, moving on to new business.
So I have some updated staff job descriptions that I sent out. The catalog or the library clerk aide is almost the same with a few additions to it. I put the additions at the bottom. The other job descriptions, the interlibrary loan librarian and the cataloging librarian are completely new from scratch. I know before the old director left, we got some new job titles, but we didn't have job descriptions that match them. So I said, you know, it's only fair that we have job descriptions that match what you're doing. So the cataloging librarian and the interlibrary loan were built from scratch, but they still perform the library clerk aide duties as it says in their job descriptions. And then with the promotion of Heidi to the program coordinator, we took the children's librarian job description and edited it to include her roles that she's doing with the social media and the marketing and adult programs. So,
Looks like we still need to update the website.
yes, we do.
Now with Heidi off the front desk and attending to these other duties, how's circulation with that?
So David's been brought up to the front desk. He's primarily been cataloging. And so we've kind of, in his spare time, he's been cataloging. We haven't had a lot of books come in yet, and I'm weeding through donations that we have. A lot of the donations that we were getting when we were without a director, we've just been taking them all and adding them. Instead of going through them and seeing if they're appropriate to be added to our collection, and the requirements that our policy says. And so I've been able to take a lot of those books that were donated and say, you know, they aren't new, they're not relevant, some of them are outdated, let's put them on
Not
our,
in good condition.
not in good condition, let's put them on our book sale shelf. So that helped tremendously too. And then I'm also looking into, I had a meeting yesterday and one today for shelf-ready material.
Right.
And it is extremely cost-effective. It's about $1.49 a book to get shelf-ready, and we're paying with the wages, not including the material, about $5 a book.
Can you briefly describe what it means to receive a shelf-ready item? What do we do with an item when we receive it, and what steps are we skipping if we pay for a shelf-ready
Yeah.
item?
So right now when a book comes in, it's just like you're going to the bookstore and you're getting a book off the shelf, or you're ordering one on Amazon and you get it in, and that's what you see and that's what you get. So when we get a book, that is how we get the book currently. So we have to take the book and we catalog the book and put it into our system. We have to pull or create a MARC record for it, a bib record for it. We have to pull an image for it, upload an image for it. We have to plasticize the book, put the plastic cover on the book. We have to print a barcode label and a spine label and take them on there. We have to put the magnetic strip in the book. There's quite a bit that goes to it, and if there's not an existing MARC record for it, then we have to hunt and search, and that is probably very time consuming to do. Like one book, if there's not a MARC record for it, it could take a long time. So sometimes those books that we don't have MARC record for, we set them aside, and we come back to them and see if there is one, and then if there's not, sometimes we'll set it aside again.
Right.
And
Because David isn't qualified to create MARC records, from scratch, to do original cataloging.
Correct,
Right.
yeah, usually we're borrowing and finding it somewhere and pulling it in,
Right.
or, you know, he's figuring it out and putting something together.
Right.
So, yeah,
That-
he does the best that he can with what he has.
That process costs $5 a book.
That's
Yeah.
without supplies, that's in the labor.
Just in the time.
That's just in
for
the time
what
as-
we're paying per hour for the work to be done.
Yep,
you
and,
know.
and that's if there is a MARC record for it.
If the copy cataloging can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where does the $1.50 come from?
It comes from a company that sells books to libraries, and they will give us their best mark record. They will, plasticize the book, they'll put our barcode label on it, they'll put a label on the spine that matches our system here. And then when we get it, they also upload an image. We essentially, upload the item to our site. I'm not sure in the specifics yet. I have to meet specifically with the department that does this to see how simple it is, but I was assured that it should be as simple as we get the book and we check the book in and it populates on our system.
Oh,
So,
that'd be awesome.
and the $1.50 does not include the magnet strip that goes in it, or the stamp in the book. But really, that doesn't take a long time to do. I figured it was, I think, 66 cents per, magnet strip that goes in the book and 25 cents for the stamp. And so I said, that's really not something we need them to do. That's something that we can do, and save a little bit of money.
How
So,
much do they charge per book?
$1.40,
yeah, $1.49.
So.
$1.49.
So they
it's coming
give us
into the-
their,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
they give
So-
us their
I
best
wouldn't
mark
survive
record.
without this.
So, I wasn't even aware this was an option. So we're going from, we've estimated $5 per item processed on wages for labor alone to $1.50 per
Labor and
item.
materials.
Yeah.
So kudos to
Ideally.
Jessica for researching this, and obviously it reallocates staff time. We can pull David up, with Heidi moving to children's librarian / program director. We can do more with existing staff and do it at a more economic rate. I wasn't even aware shelf-ready materials were an option, and that's never been discussed with previous directors, so kudos to Jessica for being brand new and looking at that option, and not only, that you checked with multiple sources to see how authentic and, appropriate it was, as well as cost saving. And I know previously I think our last director had told us that the, book budget materials was under budget because of, there hadn't been enough
Yeah.
pesticides and magnetic strips and things ordered for the number of books we had. So we were over budget in that area before, and she had to do an adjustment. So just looking at the material cost alone, let alone staff time, it's a huge savings, and it's being a better steward of our funds.
Absolutely.
Excellent job.
Back to job descriptions. Any questions or anything that you guys would like to see changed?
So,
Looks good.
That looks great.
Because, job descriptions are in our policy book, it is my understanding that, we can review them this meeting, but the next meeting they can come back for approval.
Right.
So,
Correct.
we'll keep this on the agenda for next time for approval.
yeah, they have to be posted in full a
Yeah.
certain
Right,
number of
right.
days ahead of the next meeting, yes.
The Friends of Hillsdale Library, had to renew or do reporting with the state by October 1st. Lisa Roberts is the president, and she came in on the 30th of September to complete the reporting, so I helped her complete it. She wasn't, on the state reporting, it asked, who the board members are, but she wasn't sure who the board members were, so she did some calling around and found a full board.
Her board.
For her
Her
board,
board,
yes,
okay.
for her
Okay.
board. Yeah, the Friends of the Hillsdale Library is
Has
completely
its own.
Okay,
They're-
yeah, yep.
501c3, so they're
Mhm.
completely separate.
Mhm.
So they now have a full board, and, their meetings are going to be starting back up, and their next meeting is going to be the 25th of October at 6 p.m. If anyone would like to come, everyone is invited.
I plan on attending that. I think there was some confusion. I know that, Lisa was gone last
Mhm.
winter, and then when she returned from Florida, she resigned as
Yes.
president.
She verbally
So in
resigned.
my mind, when a board reforms and there's a new slate of officers, it needs to be voted on at a meeting, and that meeting hasn't happened yet.
I would agree.
So we just need to keep everything kosher, and I think, you know, they're a separate entity from us, but we
Right.
work in partnership, they're there to support some of our projects, and it's mutually rewarding, and, I know several patrons have asked, our staff when the next Friends meeting are. I think there's interest from the public for a Friends meeting. I think it's a great thing. I just wanna make sure that, you know, we're on the right track.
Is there anywhere where I know they had a Facebook group that was inactive for a long time. Is there anywhere online where the information about the group's membership or its meetings is available?
I am not sure if Lisa has something or not.
Okay.
I know at one point our staff was managing their Facebook page. So I think when the meetings stopped at the I think it was at the beginning of the year, their meetings kind of stopped and they weren't having there wasn't anything to update it, and so our staff might have turned off their Facebook page, but I don't know if it can be handed over or if they have to create a new one. I think that those are great questions to ask the Friends of the Hillsdale Library Board at their meeting.
Where is that going to be?
Here.
Okay, it's gonna be here,
Yeah, here at
on the 25th
On the 25th.
At what time?
At 6.
at 6?
Will the library have those little cards at the front desk for those?
Yes,
That's
and we
great.
will be making a post about it on our
Perfect.
Facebook page too. Yep, we're just waiting for confirmation from Lisa and for her to ask for agenda items before we publicize it. I know in the past when they were having meetings, they decide that there wasn't going to be a meeting after we publicized it, and so it caused a lot of confusion. So this time we wanna make sure that they are going to have it, that they have an agenda, and then we are happy to announce it and make it public as well on our end.
That's Tuesday the 25th.
Yes. At 6 p.m.
There is still a new, Facebook page
Oh, good.
for them, but the last update was in May of 2021,
Okay.
so.
It's been a while.
Yeah, been a while.
And I would suggest that in the future, I don't know, Annette, can you verify whether the staff had anything to do with managing their Facebook page?
That would be a Heidi question. I
Okay.
can do that.
Yeah.
I know I received phone calls from Heidi
Mhm.
alerting me of a meeting in the
Okay.
past, because I've attended
Yeah.
several of their
I
meetings.
wonder, given that they're a separate and independent entity, whether our staff should have anything to do
We
with
should not.
administering
No.
anything
We
there.
should
There
not.
shouldn't. Yeah, I
Is
didn't
it
think so.
available on that page to see who is actually,
The
cause some of them you
admin.
can see and some of them you cannot? Or is there?
Yeah, who the admin
No.
is.
Okay,
Yeah, no. No.
I know you can, if it is our staff that is running their page, I would question it
Yes.
being
Yeah,
aligned.
we should
Honestly.
definitely hand that over.
I would
And
agree.
there are steps that you can take to hand over ownership of a
Okay.
page,
Yep.
so.
Yep.
Then they're not going to lose any of their previous followers and
Right.
things like that, we
Right,
could just make a
right.
smooth transition, but.
Anything else on that note? Okay. It was brought to my attention about 3 weeks ago, that the college is not participating, with purchasing library cards at the Hillsdale Library for their college students. And historically, I believe they did because there was an issue with Mel and interlibrary loan.
I can speak to that.
Okay,
All right, so
Yes.
we had a system migration, last academic year, 21, it was over the summer of, let's see, what year is it now? It's 22. Over the summer of 21, we had a systems migration. They told us, you'll be back up on Mel in 6 weeks. It was more like 6 months.
okay.
So while we were off Mel temporarily, we told members of the campus community, college staff, students, I'm sorry, we can't provide Mel, but the community library can. If for whatever reason you don't have a community library card, either because you live outside the service area or you're a student who's only a temporary resident, we'll write a voucher and we'll sign it, and you can take it to the community library card to get a card so that you can continue to use Mel, so that you haven't lost access to Mel because of our outage. And then we discontinued issuing those vouchers after we got back up on Mel, but some some members of the campus community, and this has only happened like twice, I
Okay.
think, showed up at the community library without a voucher and said, Mossy will cover it, can I have a card? And the community library issued them a card and sent us a receipt. And we said, well, do you have a signed voucher on file? Because it was supposed to be anybody who wanted to do this had to come to us and we signed off on it, so we knew who it was and that we'd given permission. And I think this past couple of instances, I think, as you recall, we said, all right, we'll pay for it this time,
Yes.
but don't give them any more, essentially.
Everyone knows that
Yeah.
now, so everyone is on the same page.
Yeah.
So I told the director at the college, Maureen, that I would let our board know. She did suggest that we talk about it here. They are now participating in interlibrary loan. It's up and it's running, so if they do want books from our library, they can request it through interlibrary loan and get those books. Bada bing, bada boom.
And at some point, this board may want to re-entertain the idea of visiting patrons.
Yeah.
That's a topic.
Yeah, that's
Discussion.
something.
Jessica's had a lot going on already.
I am up to speed on
Oh,
that.
okay.
Okay, so you know about visiting patron.
I do.
Oh, I
And
see.
you might hear more after you go to the next countywide library meeting.
Yeah.
I know that it is a huge benefit for everybody's library except ours. And it is a huge pain in the tuchus for us,
And we don't see much benefit.
We lose a lot of money by doing it, a lot of money and a lot of staff time
Because
doing it.
do people come, is it because they come with cards from other libraries, check our stuff out and lose it or don't bring it back? What's the cost, where's the cost come in?
Who gets a library card subscription?
A local resident?
Who pays for a library card
Somebody who
subscription?
isn't a local resident.
And then who would then be able to come to our library and not pay a library card subscription and check out books?
Somebody who's using visiting patron. I see. So it's what we lose in non-local patrons who would otherwise have to pay for their cards. I'd be interested, do you know off the top of your head our income from non-local residents paying for and renewing their cards? I assume
This
that must be a
year-
line in the expense revenue
This
report, in fact.
year, we have, just from July, August, and September, $595 in 3 months
Okay.
that we would not have.
That we would not have were we on visiting patron. And by the way, also visiting patron is a major, as you say, pain in the behind for staff to deal with.
It is extremely, I was fully brought on board by our staff.
Okay.
On every single staff
The
member.
evils of visiting patrons.
Every single
Okay.
staff member made it a point to let me know
But to be a
how
devil's advocate,
awful it is.
Go ahead.
we do get increased circulation, increased store count, and other things that affect our state aid.
If somebody can walk in with a card,
So,
yeah, so.
We'd have to hire somebody.
Yeah,
We would
to
have to hire
handle
another
just
person.
Melcat loaning. I mean, we don't have to get into the weeds, but there's no way to streamline the workflow?
I
It's
wish
just-
there was.
Okay.
We use Verso right now to check out books for our patrons.
Okay.
And we would have to use Mel to check it out for, visiting patrons. And we'd have to put a sticker on the book that says that it is checked out through Mel, so now we're paying for supplies too. Otherwise we have no idea how to know where to check the book into. And then we also can't charge through Mel. Mel has a policy where we can't charge, so if someone accrues fines, well, they don't have to pay these fines because they can keep the books as long as they want, because they can't accrue fines, because we can't collect money because it's Mel policy. We charge our patrons $1 to check out DVDs. We can't charge visiting patrons $1 to check out our DVDs because we can't accept money. And then if we lose
Because they're
them.
checking it out with a different
so why
library.
would we charge our patrons for something others?
Yeah, and then if a book doesn't get returned, we don't know who checked the book out, we just know what library it came from. We have to contact their library and say, hey, this book was checked out, we don't have it. They have to contact their patron because we don't have their contact information. We have to have their support to contact the patron to then hound them to bring the book back, and now we're not equipped requiring fines and our patrons wanna check the book out.
Now, if we had a library system from Innovative, which is the vendor that creates and runs the Mel system, that software, which is actually what we migrated away from at the college library, so we don't have visiting patron at the college library either, because the system we migrated to, Alma, is from a different vendor and doesn't support it.
Oh,
So we used to have visiting patron at the college library and we no longer do. But the only way, as far as we can tell, to seamlessly integrate the local library system with Mel is if you have a library system from Innovative, which is the vendor that creates and runs Mel. So at some point, and I know lots of libraries, and not to get too far into the weeds again with industry gossip, but lots of libraries are jumping ship from Innovative. So I think it's a question of time whether or not Melcat will continue to be a system that's solely Innovative's preserved, or perhaps in the long run will be more open to other systems. So we'll see.
The advantages and disadvantages were
Yes.
weighed before the recommendation was made to the board to discontinue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we took.
Yeah, that was a
time
couple of
the
years ago now.
administrator's decision.
2019.
Right,
Yeah.
right, that was under Mary.
And I think when Mark was president, I think Mark remembers that.
Correct.
And
Yeah, I
if
think we're
other,
almost done.
other people with library cards from another library do want our, books, they are more than welcome to order it
Right, they
through
can just
interlibrary
order
loan,
it
and they
through-
still have access
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah,
And-
so
and
our
the Mel
collections are
library
still
manages
available.
We're
that.
not denying anyone
Yes,
access.
right, yep.
Yep.
My question was, are you talking just one college, or are you talking the other two colleges in the city?
Well, I'm just talking about Hillsdale College.
It stemmed
Okay,
from
this doesn't
Hillsdale
say,
College.
it just says college students.
My
We got 3
apologies.
colleges in the city, that's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
if it's strictly,
Yeah, it was strictly an agreement that was made with Hillsdale College. My apologies, I did make the agenda and I should have clarified that. But
We
this
can
was an
clarify that in
agreement.
the minutes.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was an agreement made between Hillsdale College when their system was not working.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
cause I thought it was gonna talk about how college students can get cards, even though they don't live in the city or anything.
Yeah,
like
I believe that Hillsdale College is the only college in the area that have on-campus students. And so the discussion stemmed from on-campus
Not
students
residents.
that aren't residents but do live here on campus.
I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to your question, I believe any college student can get the Hillsdale Community Library card if they purchase one.
Yes, yes,
Sure.
yes.
So that is an option.
It is.
That was my question.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Even though they don't live in the city or the townships or
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
Anyone can come if they're not in our participating area and purchase library card for $40. Yep,
Okay, that was my question.
sorry.
I didn't understand that. But, can I ask one more question before you go too far? This Friends of the Library
Mhm.
has nothing to do with the government, the library, or anything. They're a private, like
They're-
Mr. Allen said, they're a private group.
Yes,
So
501c3.
when they have their meeting here, are they paying to rent this room?
They are not because they fundraise for the library. Their proceeds come to the library.
Directly to the library?
If we need the money, we can ask them for the money and then it comes directly towards us.
everything-
They don't help any other business or organization or nonprofit. Their money doesn't go to any other.
And their bylaws specify that.
Yes.
And in the past, they've done a couple fundraisers. One was a big book sale, and then, the director at the time requested certain items for the library, and the Friends purchased it with those funds.
Yeah, I just wondered, because they are a private independent group, have nothing to do with the government, the library, or anything, really.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else under new business? No? Next item is board comments. Does anyone have any comments or feedback?
Are we gonna at some point revisit this question of revisions to the policy manual?
That is
Oh,
on
that's
future
under
business.
future business, review
Yes.
policy manual, my gosh. I promise, I did read the agenda.
I do want to
Yes,
do it,
yes,
however, I
yes,
think you can
yes.
see how busy the last one was, so
yes.
I
Usually
could
have
not.
future things on there.
Yes,
I couldn't.
future business as a new agenda category, I completely approve of.
Okay,
Right, and I also noticed along that same line, George, that we didn't add, under the agenda, we should have had approval of agenda, and that's where we add or delete things, and we didn't have that.
Approval is, yeah, oh
I
yeah,
missed that too,
I don't have.
Yeah.
so, that, I mean, just a protocol thing.
Yeah.
Well, if there are no other board comments, I have some. I, wanted to remind our library board members as well as members of our community, and I, depending on the length of this meeting, I was going to, omit this, but with Penny here, I think a general service announcement. People have asked, why are community libraries so important? Community libraries are the hub of a community and connect people to information and people to people. They're a safe haven for children, especially during after-school hours and summer vacations. They provide free Wi-Fi access and internet access even in the parking lot, and that was especially helpful during the pandemic when children were home more, parents were working from their cars in our parking lot, trying to complete things when they weren't around or allowed in their workplace. Moms bring children for story hours and crafts. They meet and socialize with other moms and share information and mothering advice or resources. Adults do research for potential jobs and prepare for interviews here and develop business plans, and we do have a business center here. Libraries help new residents with information about our community, finding doctors, lawyers, advocacy groups. Community libraries provide information, resources, and support for patrons with disabilities. Community libraries provide social and educational opportunities by hosting author visits, concerts, art displays, and even science experiments. Libraries offer children tutoring assistance through volunteers or online resources. Community libraries are quiet places for children and adults to study and read, and some of our patrons do not have quiet places in their homes or live in a foster situation. Many parents come to the library to spend an hour, whether their children are at a music, dance, gymnastics, or other lesson, or sports practice. They drive into town and bring their child to a lesson, and where am I gonna hang out for an hour? They come to the library. Not only do community libraries offer in-person services, they offer online resources like ebooks, databases, online classes, the Mango. Community libraries offer services such as passport applications and tax forms. Librarians offer book recommendations when they know patrons prefer a certain genre or author. They'll make a comment, that author has a new book out. Librarians offer technology assistance. Librarians have been known to teach people how to download ebooks to their iPads and Kindles, how to retrieve forgotten passwords for emails and other accounts. And not everyone in our community has a printer at home, so many individuals come here to print materials or make copies. Others come in to fax something, and that's another service we offer. Librarians offer research help. Community libraries are places people can come to socialize, as in our Sit and Stitch groups, Color Cafe or book clubs, discussion groups, or even events, just chatting over a jigsaw puzzle for people that are pretty isolated at home. Community libraries have loaned out hotspots for our patrons that don't have internet access at home. Community libraries offer entertainment by having videos and DVDs in their collections that they're available to check out for $1 or watch here. Our community library offers Mango, a way to learn or practice foreign language skills. Our library offers meeting rooms and event spaces. We have been the site for bridal and baby showers, as well as weddings or mini family reunions. Homeschoolers use our library to meet with other homeschoolers for social opportunities and cooperative learning. CASA volunteers meet with their assigned children in a safe and public environment that our library offers. Social services have held supervised visits with biological parents and children who are currently in foster care settings. And that's an approved setting for those supervised visits. Our library offers information on local and statewide events, as well as free or discounted passes to some attractions. Our library has hosted wellness activities such as yoga for adults and children. And I'm sure I'm forgetting other things that our staff could tell us about that they do or are asked to do by patrons. So we have some unusual accounts, and we have some very accommodating staff that help with all those things. Another survey has said that 2/3 of adult Americans say closing their local library would have a major impact on their community. Yet we have some people in this community, and even perhaps someone on our board, that has gone on record saying that our library should be closed. and the money could be better spent on fixing the roads. Perhaps a look at our budget and the cost to our citizens would illuminate that less than a mile of road could be fixed by redirecting our library funds. I'd say that's a pretty short-sighted vision and shows poor understanding of budgets and how our city works. So I just wanna applaud our library and how much we do for our community, and I think we have a lot of people that would not have books in their hands if it weren't for our public schools, our community schools, our charter schools, our private schools, and especially our public library. And I wanna say kudos to our staff and our new director for how much she has accomplished in such a short amount of time, and I really encourage this board to be 100% behind her. Thank you. So, back to you for future business.
Future business, I am working on a library director eval form or tool. I'm hoping to have that next month for you guys, and then hopefully next month we are able to jump back on and review our policy manual. I know that there were some recommended changes, and I apologize that I haven't gotten to it yet. I need to and I want to, and so those are items we can look for, next month.
We totally understand with everything we've had going.
Jessica, why can't you just make there be more hours in a day? I'm sorry,
I love to. I don't think my husband would like that though. You know, work-life balance.
Any other comments for the good of the cause? All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
And it's at 7:05. And I should state that our next meeting is November the 10th at 6 p.m. Thank you for those of you who attended, and Penny, thank you